What will the future look like? What exactly will happen in 2022? And is it possible to go back in time to see the most famous personalities in history? The heroes of this episode have the answers to your questions. This is Infinity, and today I'll tell you about the most unusual time travelers that have recently come to light. Not so long ago in the United States, journalists discovered a time traveler who claimed to have lived for 3 months in the year 2169. 64-year-old Jack Rodson said he was a former participant in the space-time experiment, which goal was to confirm or deny the possibility of time travel. To prove his fantastic story, the man shows photos on his smartphone taken in Las Vegas of the future. They show futuristic buildings, flying cars, and scarlet clouds due to global warming. The man tells that in the future, aliens already openly coexist on Earth side by side with humans. Especially, they've taken a fancy to Asia and the USA. Already by 2169, humanity will have survived World War III, in which almost all countries of the world will be involved. According to Jack, his mission in the future failed, and the brave daredevil found himself in our time. The man assured that he forgot a portable computer in our time, the creation of which will be completed in 2022. There was a critical inaccuracy in his creation, and to correct it, Jack had to go back in time to the moment the computer was created. Once he takes it back and returns to the future, the mission will be completed. We can only guess how this will affect us. Sergei Ponomarenko. One example of time travel might be Sergei Ponomarenko. There's a curious video on the internet that shows documentary evidence of an incredible event. In 2006, an old-fashioned dressed young man with a camera appeared on a street in Kyiv, asking passers-by where he was and what year it was. A policeman who was dealing with this unusual case recorded the data of the only document the guest had from the past: Sergei Valentinovich Ponomarenko, born in 1932. Since the situation was quite strange and the stranger didn't feel good, it was decided to send him to a private clinic and show him to a psychologist. The people who dealt with the situation found an APB on this man dating back to 1978, which indicates that he left home with a camera and disappeared. In addition, there's an archival audio recording from 1960 that captures an interview with Ponomarenko on Kyiv radio in which he describes the future. They also found a friend of the guest from the past who said she received a letter from Sergei with a photo. On the photo is an aged Ponomarenko, and behind his back can be seen the Dnieper and Pechersky Hill, built up with high-rise buildings which did not exist in Kyiv in the 1960s. On the back of the photo is written, "I'm all right, we'll try to come back." Many are still puzzling over whether the story's true or not. Most likely, this event will never become clear and will remain a mystery to us. Time traveler from 5000. In the summer of 2021, a story broke in the media about a time traveler from the year 5000. Edward, an American, claims that in 2004 he became a participant in a secret experiment in a laboratory of a certain Los Angeles scientific institution where he was working at the time. His professional activity was related to technical support, but he was allegedly spotted by scientists and offered to test the effect of a new technology on himself. So Edward found himself in the year 5000 AD. "I was standing on a huge wooden platform. All the buildings around me were also made of wood, and then I realized I was in Los Angeles, only it was underwater," he told reporters. As the man understood from the words of the people with whom he was able to talk, the flooding of the metropolis was due to melting of the glaciers. The level of the world ocean has risen, and the water has absorbed most of the coastal cities of the Earth. As proof of what he saw, Edward showed journalists a photo of flooded Los Angeles. However, the man did not say exactly how he managed to communicate with local residents underwater. Many of you probably thought at least once that it'd be a good idea to use time travel as a way to make money by predicting the results of sporting events or investing in securities. One person seems to have succeeded in it. Stay tuned for more details and to see other time travelers with interesting stories. Let's move on. In 2003, a story about the arrest of an unusually lucky economist appeared on the internet. Somebody named Andrew Carlson allegedly earned $350 million for 2 weeks on risky investments, having invested only $800. Such an exceptional case could not fail to attract the attention of the police officers who arrested the newly rich man. During the interrogation, he didn't reveal the fraudulent schemes, but confessed that he had simply come from the year 2256. During the interrogation, Carlson said that he got too carried away. He planned to invest in both successful and unsuccessful business projects, but it was too difficult to resist temptation. So all his 126 investments brought him an instant profit. According to reporters, the FBI was never able to find any data on him until December 2002, as if Carlson really didn't exist before then. In all, the trader spent more than a month in jail. Interrogators hoped he would still give them his accomplices, but on March 29, 2003, an unknown person posted $1 million bail for Carlson, so Andrew was released from prison. Andrew was supposed to meet with an attorney to prepare for a court hearing, but the trader didn't show up for it and has been missing ever since. Pellegrino Ernetti. Father Pellegrino Ernetti, a Benedictine monk, lived almost all his life in a monastery on the island of San Giorgio. In his spare time, Father Ernetti invented a chronovisor, a device that supposedly allowed him to travel back in time to see historical events with his own eyes. According to the priest, he wanted to be at the opera Trista, which caused a sensation in Rome in 169 BC. There are even testimonies of people who were present at the launch of the chronovisor. Pellegrino Ernetti's friend, the priest Francois Brune, even wrote a book entitled The Vatican's New Mystery, in which he told how he listened to Napoleon's speeches and saw the crucifixion of Christ. In 1972, an Italian newspaper published similar claims. The article, titled "A Machine That Photographs the Past Has Finally Been Invented," covered Ernetti's shocking claims all over the country. Along with the admittedly dubious claims, the paper published a photo from the chronovisor, which Ernetti claimed depicted the Romans next to Jesus Christ. The 1972 article also claimed that Ernetti had witnessed the Last Supper and kept the photo of the biblical event for himself as a souvenir. Ahead of fashion. In March of this year, a photograph of 1917 was discussed on the internet. On it was seen a man who many people immediately called a time traveler. The photo is more than 100 years old and depicts a fragment of a picnic near San Joseph Bay in British Columbia, Canada. The photo was accidentally found in a book by Lester Ray Peterson. It's dedicated to the history of this Canadian area and was published in 1974. The photo shows adults and children sitting on a hillside. Among those gathered wearing the clothes of that time, a man in a t-shirt and shorts without a beard can be seen. One of the women is pointing her hand at the man. The attention of internet users was attracted to this young man, as the man is dressed in clothes that are not typical for that time. Such a style of clothing, according to users of the internet, doesn't correspond to the first half of the 20th century. In addition, the guy has a typical surfer's hair. It seems as if he's traveled back in time from our time. In 2007, police officers from the American city of Casper, Wyoming, detained a drunken man who wanted to warn of an impending alien invasion. Brian Johnson invited law enforcement officers to his home and explained that he'd come from the year 2048 to warn residents of his hometown that aliens would attack the city in 2018, and everyone needed to evacuate immediately. According to him, he was only able to get to 2017 because the aliens drugged him with alcohol and told him to stand on a special launch pad. But something went wrong. Instead of 2018, the time traveler found himself in 2017, and he needed to talk to the city's mayor urgently. Patrol officers didn't much believe Johnson's claims and decided that if he'd been drugged with alcohol, it was definitely not in the future, but in the present. The law enforcement officers recognized him inadequate and took the man to the police station. That's all, guys. Do you believe that time travel is possible? Let me know and share your stories in the comments.